A new study from Stanford University caught my attention last month, and honestly, it surprised me. After 25 years of helping seniors in the emergency room, I thought I knew what worked for building strength after 70, but this research showed something I hadn't expected. Nearly half of seniors aren't getting the protein they need, and it's not because they can't afford expensive supplements. Here's what I've discovered. 2 simple foods you probably already have in your kitchen can work together in a way that builds more muscle than most supplements. When researchers tested beans combined with dairy, they found something remarkable. This combination gave seniors the best of both worlds. The steady, long-term support your muscles crave, plus the immediate boost they need to start building again. I want to share this with you today because what I'm seeing in my practice matches exactly what this research is showing. Your body is ready to get stronger, no matter your age. Now I know what you're thinking. When you walk down that supplement aisle, those $50 protein powders, with promises of quick muscle building, I've seen too many of my patients spend hundreds of dollars on these, only to give up after a few weeks. Here's what the supplement companies don't want you to know. Some of the most powerful muscle-building foods cost less than $5 and are sitting right there in your grocery store's regular aisles. I'm talking about beans, lentils, and chickpeas. I know, they don't look like much. But here's what I've learned. After watching thousands of seniors struggle with expensive solutions, that don't work. The simple truth is this. Your muscles don't care if protein comes from a fancy container or a humble can of beans. What they care about is getting all the building blocks they need. And here's where it gets interesting. When you combine beans with something as simple as rice or bread, something remarkable happens. Beans are naturally lower in one amino acid called methionine, but they're packed with lysine. Rice and bread are the opposite, high in methionine, lower in lysine. When you eat them together, it's like completing a puzzle. These plant protein foods, when combined together, form an amino acid profile that resembles animal protein. Think of it this way. If your muscles were building a house, animal proteins would be like getting all the materials delivered at once. Plant proteins are like getting different materials from different suppliers. But when you put them together, you can build the exact same house. Research shows that plant-based protein offers equal benefits compared to animal-sourced protein. At greater amounts of ingestion, for seniors, this is especially important because your body processes protein differently now than it did when you were younger. You need more protein to get the same muscle-building effect. But that doesn't mean you need expensive protein powders. Recent research followed older adults who switched from expensive protein supplements to simple plant-based foods. Plant protein interventions improved muscle mass over time. And here's the part that really matters. The results were just as good as the expensive alternatives. I think about Maria, one of my patients who was spending over $100 monthly on protein powders she could barely afford on her fixed income. She was frustrated because she'd run out halfway through each month and couldn't maintain consistency. When she switched to beans and lentils, something changed. Not only could she afford to eat protein-rich foods every single day, but she started feeling stronger and more energetic. The emotional impact was just as important as the physical one. She told me, "Doctor, I don't have to choose between my medications and my nutrition anymore." That's the kind of independence that comes from finding solutions that actually fit your life and budget. Within 6 months, her grip strength improved. She was climbing stairs more easily, and she had money left over for other things that mattered to her. Here's how to make this work in your daily life. Start simple. Add 1 cup of beans to your day. This could be a bowl of lentil soup, chickpeas tossed in your salad, or black beans with your rice. The magic happens when you pair them right. Have your beans with bread, rice, or pasta. Even something as simple as hummus with pita bread. gives you that complete protein profile your muscles need. Incomplete proteins can be combined in the diet to form complete amino acid profiles. Here are my favorite combinations that my patients actually stick with. Lentil soup with a piece of whole grain bread, 3-bean chili over rice, chickpea salad sandwich, or even just refried beans with a corn tortilla. Each of these combinations gives your muscles everything they need to stay strong and build new tissue. The supporting habit I want you to remember is this. Think in pairs. Beans need a grain friend. Rice, bread, pasta, or tortillas. This pairing is what makes plant proteins work just as well as expensive supplements. And it's something you can do at every meal without breaking the bank. What makes this combination so powerful is that you're not just getting protein. You're getting fiber, vitamins, and minerals that actually help your body use the protein better. Supplements can't give you that complete package. Here's the main point. You don't need expensive supplements to build a strong protein foundation. Beans, lentils, and chickpeas, paired with simple grains, give your muscles the steady, reliable support they need every day.
It's affordable.
It's sustainable, and it's probably already in your pantry.
But here's what I've discovered.
This foundation needs an accelerator, something that signals your muscles to wake up and start building. Now, that bean foundation is powerful, and it's doing important work in your body every day. But here's something I've noticed. After treating thousands of seniors, having the right building materials isn't always enough. Your muscles also need what I call a wake-up call. Think about it this way. You can have all the lumber and nails ready to build a house, but without someone to start the construction, nothing happens. That's where dairy comes in. There's one type of protein that works differently in your body after age 70, and it's probably sitting in your refrigerator right now. I'm talking about milk, yogurt, and cheese. And before you tell me you've heard mixed things about dairy, let me share what the research is actually showing about seniors specifically. Here's what makes dairy special for people over 70. It contains something called leucine, and your muscles respond to leucine like a car responds to turning the key. Without enough leucine, your muscles basically stay asleep, even when you're giving them good protein. Research from Harvard shows that whey protein, the protein found in milk and yogurt, is particularly effective for building muscle in older adults. But here's the part that really matters. Studies have found that men in their 70s needed more than 20 grams of protein at a time to get their muscles to listen. That's about 70% more than younger adults need. Think of leucine as your muscle's alarm clock. When you eat beans and rice, you're delivering steady nutrition all day long. That's your foundation. But when you add dairy, you're sending a clear signal. Time to build muscle now. It's like the difference between having electricity flowing to your house and actually flipping the light switch. This isn't about dairy being better or worse than plant proteins. They do different jobs. Your bean foundation provides steady, long-term support. Dairy provides the immediate activation signal that tells your muscles to start using those building blocks right away. For seniors, this timing matters more than it did when you were younger. Your muscle-building machinery needs a stronger signal to get started, and leucine from dairy is exactly that signal. Let me tell you about a study that really opened my eyes. Researchers at McMaster University followed men over 70 who were drinking whey-based protein drinks. These weren't expensive supplements. What happened was remarkable. The men who consumed whey protein gained 700 grams of lean muscle mass in just 6 weeks. But here's the important part. They saw improvements even before they started exercising. The whey protein alone was enough to start the muscle-building process. The researchers found that drinking a whey-based shake boosted physical strength in the group of men over 70, and the results were noticeable after the drinks alone were consumed. When they added exercise later, the results got even better. What struck me most about this study was how it matched what I was seeing in my own practice. Seniors who added simple dairy foods to their daily routine, a glass of milk with breakfast, Greek yogurt as a snack, cottage cheese with their meals, were telling me they felt stronger and had more energy within weeks. Here's how to make dairy work. As your muscle trigger, the key is getting about 20 to 35 grams of protein from dairy sources each day. And timing matters. Start with your morning routine. A glass of milk with breakfast, or Greek yogurt with your fruit, gives your muscles that wake-up signal, right when your body is ready to start the day. Greek yogurt is especially powerful. Just 1 cup contains about 20 grams of protein with plenty of leucine. For your supporting habit, think about dairy as your after-activity reward. Had a walk around the block, a glass of chocolate milk, finished your housework, some cottage cheese with fruit, did your gardening, a small protein smoothie made with milk or yogurt. What makes this combination so powerful is that you're not replacing your bean foundation. You're accelerating it. The beans provide steady nutrition all day, and the dairy provides those crucial moments when your muscles get the signal to actually build. Here are my favorite ways patients actually stick with this. Chocolate milk after any physical activity, Greek yogurt with berries as an afternoon snack, cottage cheese mixed into their morning eggs, or simply adding milk to their coffee or tea throughout the day. The beauty of dairy as your muscle trigger is that it works fast. Unlike the steady, long-term work your bean foundation is doing, dairy starts sending signals to your muscles within 30 minutes of eating it. Here's the main point. Dairy acts as your muscle's activation switch. While your bean foundation provides steady support, dairy sends the immediate signal your muscles need to start building. It's available everywhere. It's affordable, and it works quickly. But here's where it gets really interesting. When you combine both of these approaches in the right way, something special happens that's bigger than either one alone. Now, both that bean foundation and dairy trigger work well on their own. I've seen patients get stronger with just beans and grains, and others see improvements with just adding dairy to their routine. But here's what I discovered. After watching hundreds of seniors over the years, when you combine both approaches, something remarkable happens. It's not just addition. It's not like getting 2 + 2 = 4. When you combine plant proteins with dairy proteins in the right way, you get what I call the partnership effect. 1 + 1 to actually equals 3. Most people make the mistake of thinking they need to choose. Either go plant-based for health or stick with dairy for muscle building. But your body doesn't think in terms of either or. Your muscles are much smarter than that. Here's what's happening inside your body. When you combine beans with dairy, you're giving your muscles 2 different types of support that work together like a perfect team. Remember how beans and grains together create that complete amino acid profile? When you add dairy to this combination, you're not just getting more protein, you're getting the best of both worlds. The steady, sustained amino acid supply from your plant foundation, plus the immediate leucine signal from dairy. That tells your muscles, start building now. Think of it like having both a savings account and a checking account. Your bean foundation is like your savings, steady, reliable support day after day. Your dairy trigger is like your checking account, immediate access when you need to make something happen right away. But here's where it gets interesting. When these plant protein foods are combined with dairy proteins, you create an amino acid environment in your body that's actually better than what either one could achieve alone. The sustained amino acid release from plants keeps your muscle-building machinery fed for hours, while the leucine from dairy makes sure that machinery is actually turned on and working. For seniors, this partnership is especially powerful because your muscles need both consistency and activation. You need that steady supply of building blocks, and you need regular signals to use them. When you combine plant and dairy proteins, you're giving your body exactly what it needs, when it needs it. Let me share some research. That really drives this point home. Scientists studied older adults who consumed leucine-enriched protein drinks as part of their regular diet. Not instead of their regular food, but in addition to it. What they found was fascinating. When participants combined their normal eating patterns with strategically timed protein drinks, their muscle protein synthesis increased by 9% every single day over 6 days. That might not sound like much, but think about it. That's your muscles getting nearly 10% more building work done every single day. The key was that they weren't just taking protein supplements. They were adding dairy-based protein to a diet that already included plant proteins from their regular meals. The combination created what researchers called a sustained anabolic response. Basically, their muscles stayed in building mode longer and more effectively. What impressed me most was that this wasn't about perfect timing or complicated schedules. These were real people eating real food,
just making sure they got both types of protein throughout their day.
The synergy happened naturally
when both protein sources were present in their system.
The participants reported not just feeling stronger, but having more consistent energy throughout the day. That makes perfect sense. When you understand that their muscles were getting both steady nutrition and regular activation signals. Here's how to create this partnership effect in your daily life. The secret isn't complicated timing or special combinations. It's simply making sure you get both your plant foundation and your dairy trigger within the same day. Start with your bean foundation at one meal, maybe lentil soup with bread for lunch or black beans with rice for dinner. Then add your dairy trigger at a different time. Greek yogurt with your breakfast or a glass of milk in the evening. Your supporting habit is what I call protein pairing throughout the day. Instead of trying to get all your protein from one source at one meal, spread both types across your day. Have your hummus and pita mid-morning, then cottage cheese with fruit in the afternoon. Enjoy your 3-bean chili for dinner, then a small glass of chocolate milk before bed. What makes this combination so powerful is that you're creating what I like to call protein teamwork in your body. The plants provide steady, long-term muscle support. The dairy provides regular activation signals. Together, they keep your muscle-building process running smoothly all day long. Here's a simple daily template that many of my patients use. Plant protein at 2 meals. Dairy protein at 2 different times. It could be oatmeal with nuts for breakfast, Greek yogurt mid-morning, bean salad for lunch, and milk with dinner. The exact foods don't matter as much as making sure both types show up regularly. The beauty of this approach is that you're not restricting anything or making your diet more complicated. You're just making sure your muscles get both the steady foundation they need and the activation signals that keep them building. Here's the main point. When you combine plant proteins with dairy proteins, you create a partnership that's more powerful than either approach alone. Your muscles get sustained nutrition, plus regular activation signals. It's simple, it's flexible, and it works with whatever foods you already enjoy. But here's the secret that makes this whole system work even better. It's not just what you eat or even how you combine foods. The real game changer is when you eat them. Now, you know what to eat, how to combine your proteins, and why the partnership between plants and dairy is so powerful. But here's the piece that most people miss. And it's the difference between good results and remarkable results. It's not just what you eat, it's when you eat it. I've watched patients do everything right with their protein choices. But because they weren't paying attention to timing, they were only getting about half the muscle-building benefit they could have been getting. Your body has a natural rhythm for building muscle, just like it has a rhythm for sleeping and waking. When you work with this rhythm instead of against it, everything we've talked about becomes twice as effective. Most seniors have no idea. They have this advantage available to them every single day. Here's what's happening in your body throughout the day. Your muscle-building machinery operates on what scientists call a circadian rhythm. Just like your energy levels rise and fall at predictable times, your muscles have specific windows when they're primed to respond to protein. Research shows that when you consume protein, leucine concentration in your blood rises rapidly, stimulating muscle protein synthesis, which peaks at 60 to 90 minutes after eating. But here's the key part. This response is strongest in the morning when your body is naturally shifting into building mode after the overnight repair period. Think of it like watering a garden. You could water your plants at random times throughout the day, and they'd probably survive. But if you water them at sunrise, when they're naturally ready to absorb nutrients, and again in the evening, when they're preparing for overnight recovery, they'll thrive. Studies have found that consuming protein twice daily, once in the morning with breakfast and then once in the evening, creates what researchers call an optimal anabolic environment. This isn't about eating more protein. It's about timing the protein you're already eating to match your body's natural building cycles. For seniors, this timing approach is especially important because your muscle building response is more sensitive to when nutrients arrive. Your body is looking for those clear signals, time to build in the morning and time to repair and recover in the evening. Let me tell you about research. That completely changed how I think about protein timing. Scientists studied older women who consumed protein drinks twice daily, once in the morning with breakfast and once about an hour before bed. The results were impressive. Muscle protein synthesis increased by 9% every single day over 6 days with this twice-daily protocol. What made this study especially interesting was that they weren't consuming huge amounts of protein, just strategically timed, moderate portions that worked with the body's natural rhythm. Another study I found fascinating focused specifically on morning protein intake in elderly women. Those who consumed milk protein in the morning showed significant gains in hand grip strength and muscle mass after just 12 weeks. The morning timing seemed to set a positive tone for muscle building that lasted throughout the entire day. What struck me about these studies was how practical they were. These weren't complicated protocols requiring special timing devices or rigid schedules. It was simply about establishing 2 consistent times each day, morning activation and evening support. The participants reported not just physical improvements, but also said they felt more energetic and stable throughout the day. When your muscles are getting regular, well-timed nutrition, your whole body seems to function better. Here's how to create your own daily activation protocol. The goal is simple. Give your muscles a morning wake-up call and an evening support signal. Your morning activation should happen within the first hour after you wake up. This could be Greek yogurt with your breakfast, milk in your coffee, or a smoothie made with dairy. The key is getting that leucine signal to your muscles right when they're naturally ready to start building. For your evening support, think about having your plant protein foundation 2 to 3 hours before bed. Maybe your lentil soup with dinner, or hummus with vegetables as an evening snack. This gives your muscles steady amino acids to work with during the overnight repair process. Your supporting habit is what I call bookending your day with protein, just like you might have morning and evening routines for other aspects of your health. Create simple protein bookends, morning dairy to activate, evening plants to sustain. Here's a daily template that many of my patients find easy to follow. Morning, Greek yogurt with fruit or milk with breakfast cereal. Throughout the day, your regular meals with whatever protein sources you enjoy. Evening, a bowl of bean soup, lentil salad, or even just some nuts with your dinner. What makes this protocol so powerful is that you're working with your body's natural rhythm instead of fighting it. You're giving your muscles exactly what they need, when they need it most. The morning protein kickstarts the building process, and the evening protein supports the repair and recovery that happens while you sleep. The beauty of this approach is its flexibility. You don't need to eat at exact times
Or measure everything precisely.
You just need to establish the pattern, something dairy-based in the morning,
Something plant-based in the evening.
and let your body do what it knows how to do. Here's the main point. Timing turns good nutrition into great results. When you give your muscles morning activation and evening support, you're working with your body's natural building rhythm. It's simple. It fits into any lifestyle, and it maximizes everything you've learned about protein. You now have the complete system, the affordable foundation, the muscle trigger, the partnership effect, and the timing that makes it all work together. Your body is ready to respond, no matter what your age. Let me bring this all together for you. We've covered 4 simple pieces: your affordable bean foundation for steady muscle support, your dairy trigger for activation, the partnership effect when you combine both, and the morning-evening timing that works with your body's natural rhythm. This isn't about complicated meal plans or expensive supplements. Beans and lentils paired with grains give you complete protein that's affordable and available everywhere. Add dairy for morning activation and evening support, and you're giving your muscles both building blocks and the signals they need. Here's what I want you to do starting tomorrow. Choose one simple change. Maybe it's adding lentil soup to your lunch, or Greek yogurt with breakfast. Start with what feels easiest, because the best plan is one you'll actually follow. Once that becomes natural, add the second piece. In my 25 years of practice, I've learned that our bodies are incredibly resilient at any age. Your muscles haven't given up on you. They're waiting for the right support. You have everything you need, and it's probably already in your kitchen. What's your favorite way to enjoy beans or dairy? Share that with others. When we support each other in healthy choices, everyone gets stronger together.